The race continues for Senator Jay Rockefeller's Senate seat in West Virginia, and there are two women that are in the race for that seat, and those women include Natalie Tennant and also Representative Shelley Moore Capito. Now, Senator Elizabeth Warren is behind Tennant, and she did a rally in support of her, and during that rally, she had some very, very strong words of criticism against her opponent. Take a quick look.
The way I see this, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, and all those other guys on Wall Street, they've got plenty of folks in the United States Senate who are willing to work on their side. We need some more people willing to work on the side of America's families.
Right. Well, she wasn't done there. She continued to go after Capito for her ties to Wall Street. Take a look.
The Republicans say no to raising the minimum wage. They say no to equal pay for equal work. They say we're going to have to cut Social Security in order to make our budget balance. They say no on those pension promises. They say it is more important to stand up for Wall Street than it is to stand up for the families across this country. Well, I tell you what, they can say it, but they're going to lose.
Damn, I got pumped up watching it. All right, now, you can tell how effective someone is going to be by how much the mainstream and the establishment in Washington howl. And they are howling now. Like, oh, she can't do that. Well, that's such a wrong strategy. No, yeah, going in there with that populist message, anti-Wall Street, that's not right. Oh, yeah, sure it's not right. They're scared to death of her. The reason why she is doing so well in collecting money from small donors to give to these different candidates that she's supporting in West Virginia, the reason why she's so popular in West Virginia is because people don't like that Wall Street robbed us, because they did, and that we gave them even more of our money, which we did, okay? Republicans don't like it, Democrats don't like it, independents don't like it, and when she says, I'm gonna look out for middle-class families, and now the person I'm backing, Natalie Tennant, is gonna look out for middle-class families, and they're not gonna look out for Wall Street, well, that is a winning strategy. Remember, historic loss of Eric Cantor in Virginia in a primary. The sitting House Majority Leader's never lost in a primary before because the right-winger who ran against him said, this guy works for Wall Street. And the Republicans are like, throw the bum out.
So West Virginia is an interesting case, though, because there are two issues at play. The first issue, of course, is Wall Street, which Elizabeth Warren addressed in those two videos. But there's also the issue of the EPA. Now, West Virginia is a big coal state, and they want to basically fight against the EPA because they want to ensure that they keep jobs. A lot of individuals living there work for big coal. So as a result, Elizabeth Warren really had to distance herself from Tennant when it came to that issue. She made it clear that Tennant did not agree with her on the issue of the EPA and cutting carbon emissions. But a lot of people that were at that rally were not buying it, right? They feel that Tennant is just another extension, or I should say Warren is another extension of Obama, which is hilarious because, of course, Elizabeth Warren is completely different from President Obama. She's much more progressive, but they feel that if Warren and Tennant are in cahoots with one another, then Tennant is likely to be in favor of cutting carbon emissions.
So, look, these states are getting harder to win for the Democrats that are in this region of the country. Keep it real. So West Virginia used to be solidly Democratic. It seems hard to believe because President Obama lost all 55 counties to Mitt Romney in 2012 in West Virginia. So that gives you a sense of how red West Virginia's become. But did you know that West Virginia has not had a Republican senator in 56 years? Okay, it's been solidly Democratic. Now they've had some really long-running senators there, Robert Byrd in the past, Jay Rockefeller, et cetera. But the way you bring him back, you're right, she's not going to win on the coal issue, and Elizabeth Warren's help might not put Tennant over the top here in West Virginia. On a case-by-case basis, there's so many different factors in each race, you can't say everywhere Elizabeth Warren goes, she has the Midas touch. She touches Tennant and she wins, right? Of course not. My politics is a lot more complicated than that. But on average, I think the places where she goes, she's going to do a lot more help. And she's not just going to blue states, she's going to a lot of red states, too. She just went to Kentucky to help Allison Grimes there as well. And I think that everybody is receptive to this message. And yes, she's to the left of Obama, but part of the reason people don't trust Obama is because he also helped Wall Street.
Exactly. That's 100% correct. Now, the way the press, the mainstream press, has covered this story has been fascinating to say the least. So CNN actually had a panel discussion on the rally that Elizabeth Warren had. And John King just cannot understand the popularity of Senator Warren. Take a look.
Elizabeth Warren, why does she have such fancy standing in the Democratic Party when she's from Massachusetts? You could argue she's more liberal than Barack Obama, who's unpopular out on the campaign trail out there. Yet she was in Kentucky the other day campaigning for Allison Grimes. Today she'll be in West Virginia. Why does Elizabeth Warren have appeal to Democrats in red states?
Why?
I love that. I love that. So he's like, wait a minute. She's even more liberal than Obama. Don't people hate liberals?
Right.
Well, since she's so incredibly popular, maybe you should rethink that idea. Maybe a lot of people are pissed at Obama because they're not seeing him as liberal or frankly, conservative. Of course, like we view Obama as conservative, but I don't think they're viewing him as conservative in Kentucky or West Virginia. They're just viewing him as a corrupt politician in Washington,
right,
which he kind of is, right?
Yeah.
And what they like about Elizabeth Warren is that we know she's not corrupt because the banks hate her. And she's fought them, and the powerful and the rich and the people who are rigging the rules against the middle class, they can't stand her. The John Kings of the world are confounded by her.
Yes.
He is the establishment.
Yes.
So that's why real people like her, and you're befuddled. Like, I don't, what?
He lives in his corporate bubble where money is the virus that corrupts everything, right? It has corrupted the mainstream press. It has corrupted politicians. And when you live in that bubble, you don't understand why anyone would like a politician who refuses to be corrupted by corporate donations.
He views her as like radical left.
Yeah.
Like she won't even take all the banker money. She's crazy. Why do people like her? Because they don't all live in Washington, John. They don't all make the millions of dollars that you make on CNN to support that corrupt system.
I mean, look, we live in a country right now where student loan debt has passed $1 trillion, right? And Senator Warren is the only politician who proposed a real solution to that issue. And the solution was get rid of corporate tax loopholes, raise taxes on the wealthy in order to basically lower interest rates on student loans and basically help these students pay off their student loans, right? Of course, it didn't pass in the Senate. They had absolutely no interest in passing that. That's the reason why Senator Warren is a favorite among Democrats. And I would argue, people who are independents, because she's actually looking out for people. She's not looking out for corporations. And it's really, really rare in today's political climate to find a politician who's willing to do that. She's one of the few principled politicians out there. Can you imagine? I mean, think about it. You're in this situation where campaign donations are everything. And yet you basically give the middle finger to corporations and say, I want to regulate you and I want to increase taxes on the wealthy. Damn.
I want to back up Anna's point with one final example, which is on the issue of student loans. Elizabeth Warren had a second proposal. She said, look, why don't we let the students pay the same interest rate that the Fed gives to the top banks in the country?
0.75%.
0.75%, right? And everybody in Washington laughed. They said, you're crazy. Of course we're not going to give lousy American students, actual citizens, the same rate as the bankers. That's how they literally thought it was an outrageous proposal, right? Now, so to the John Kings of the world, they're like, she's crazy. But what he doesn't realize, as Anna pointed out in his bubble, is that the rest of the country thinks, wait a minute, why don't we give the same rate to the students that we give to the richest people in the country, to the bankers, who then turn around and loan it to my family at a much higher rate? Mm-hmm. Like, why isn't my daughter allowed to go to the college at the same rate as the banker getting it from the Fed? I don't understand that. Oh, yeah, I'm with Warren, right? You don't have to be a liberal to agree with that. Don't conservatives want opportunity for their kids? Of course they do, right? They don't want a handout, but they do want opportunity. So I love how surprised Washington pundits are by Elizabeth Warren and how she's shaking things up throughout the country.
I love it too.